ay. Ay, ay, ay. Mamma mia, ideos mio, however you say that in French. I don't know. Really? Really? That's how it's going to go down. That's what's going to happen. That's how they're going to go down in the series. Like, come on, man. I was all ready to get talk about how Carey Price gave the game away. What a terrible goal he allowed. Then Fleury goes out and does what he does. Like, oh my God, I seriously, I can't believe that happened. There's a lot of things that shock me in hockey games. I'm not one to I'm not hard to amuse, I guess is how I'll put it. It's not hard to amuse me. And, not that amused me, but I can't believe it. And Riley Smith blames it on the ice. It wasn't the ice. The puck did not bounce into him. Yeah, it's rolling, but it's going to be rolling or wobbling or whatever at that point. Let's just call it what it is. It's an error. It's a huge error. It's the worst one in franchise history, I would say. I can't think of one even close to as bad. Maybe the closest one would be the Lucas Spiza one in the corner of Game 5 of the Cup final, but even this is way worse. That's a tap-in. That's a legit tap-in for a team that wasn't going to score unless you gave them a legitimate tap-in. And that's what, in a way, it reminds me of this. Obviously, it was not that, but it reminds me of that in a way of, how the fuck do you break down a game when that's the way it ends? Or not even ends, but, that's the difference. If that play doesn't happen, we're sitting here saying, yeah, they had some problems offensively, and this would have been nice to capitalize on a few more chances, but in the end, they got it done. Defensively, the D-zone coverage today was an A+, an absolute A+. Entries, A+, denying entries, A+, forechecking, A. Denying their forechecking, A+, neutral zone, B+, but only because there were two times that it kind of fell apart. And really, one of them's a bad change, and that's tough. And of course, then there's the fact that the Golden Knights lose on a bad change in the game that the other team doesn't have their coach. Really, it's just a lot. It's a lot to take. And to me, no, it's not. It's not the Dallas series. It's not. The Golden Knights are creating some dangerous chances. The guy's making some good saves, but they're also handing them some of the chances, and the Golden Knights have taken advantage of some of the ones that have been handed to them. Both of the goals for Vegas tonight are not created really by Vegas. They're really not. I guess you could say the second one, okay, it's a good shot by Pietrangelo. You got to put it on goal. It's got to be inside of the frame of the pipes. If it's going to go in, but when push comes to shove, that's a shot he's got to save. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He's got to save it. And then the other one, that's just a horrible mistake by Stahl. The worst mistake we've seen until we saw a much, much, much worse one. So it's awfully difficult. If there's any series it reminds me of at this point, it would have to be Winnipeg. Vegas has been the better team. You look at really one period that Montreal was real good in that first of the first game, and Vegas took a 2-0 lead in that game. The first period of game 2 wasn't Vegas's best, but they hung in there. I don't think they were so far out of that game that they couldn't have won it. There were chances down the stretch. That's the one that gets away in a series in which you're playing 7 against a team that you should be superior to. I still think Vegas is superior to Montreal. I'm certainly not at that point. This is a game that Vegas played the offensive game the way that a home team would, and Montreal played a defensive game the way that an away team would. When they were down, they pushed a little harder, and they created a couple of chances, and for the most part, it didn't work. It wasn't enough. They should have lost. There's no other way to put it. And I know the cliches. I understand that it's a team game. I get it. The Golden Knights could have scored more. More could have happened. They could have gotten something going on the power play. I get it. And like I'm fine with all of that. Like, and I don't mind anybody wanting to use that or saying they need to win the game in overtime or whatever. But it does remind me of the not a major thing, where if that doesn't happen, Vegas wins. Like, I'm convinced Vegas wins the game if that does not happen. So to act like that play is not the end all be all of game 2 and where the series is now, I think is ridiculous. It sucks. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say anything other than it blows, but it happened. And now, thank you, Ticker. Now we got to figure out what they're going to do from here. Like, I don't know. Like, you play that game again, you should win it. You should win it pretty much every single time. The only issue, like literally the only piece that I have a problem with in this game is how the Golden Knights got their goals. They got 2 goals, and I don't think either are replicable, which is a weird thing to say when you look at the other team and one of their goals is like ridiculously not replicable. I think the other ones actually are. Vegas shooting the puck into a shin and you catch a 2-on-1 or whatever that was. I guess he gets in behind him, and then the other one's just a bad change on the long change. And like, I get how that happens in overtime. Okay, whatever. But like offensively, you want more. You want to finish some of these chances. You want Tuck to bury that one in at the end. You want him to score on his breakaway. There's other opportunities through that game. I need more from the Misfits. Like, where were they today? I felt like they were forechecking fairly well, but it wasn't generating much offense. And in many ways, I was kind of applauding that the forwards were getting their shots on goal. But then when you look at the end of the game and you think back to how often did they have one of those shifts where they were able to really hem them in and get shot after shot after shot from the point with traffic? It didn't happen. And I think part of that's the wingers and how they defended, up high against Vegas's points. But as a whole, it's like, is that going to be enough offense to win 3 out of, what do they need? 3 out of 4 now. Is it enough? I don't know. I really don't. It's tough. They need 3 out of 5. How many games are left? 4, 5, 6, 7. They need 3 out of 4. It's tough. It's a tough situation to be in. But again, like, I don't think this is a performance that you look at this game and should like be unable to sleep over. Like, and I know that those games have happened in the past. And like, I feel like if game 5 against Colorado had gone the other way, that would have been one of those where it's like, oh, we need a good performance. Then it doesn't come. And it's like, oh, fuck, we're in trouble now. This one is not that. Like, it's really not. They did what you need to do to beat Montreal. Like, that's, for the most part, they did what they need to do. And they capitalized enough. Nick Waugh, good goal. You get what you need, and then it's just given away. It's just given away by one careless mistake. And like, it's the biggest issue in it is like, at least the Eric Stahl careless mistake. Nick Waugh's still got to make a great play. He's got to make a good shot, and Price has a chance to stop it. There's an opportunity to break down that, to stop that breakaway or whatever. On the Fleury one, like, there's nothing you can do. Like, yeah, that's it. You're done. See you later. Good night. That's a goal. And now we have to go to overtime. And I think that's a horrible situation. And one of the things that I talked about in my Twitter space, and I actually felt like the game went pretty much exactly how I thought, and I would have never guessed that it would have ended the way that it ended with that play by Fleury. I would have guessed Vegas gets the empty netter and they win 3-1, and I would have had the game exactly the way it was supposed to be. But now I do have a little bit of concern of Fleury and the pressure that's going to be on him, because he's not very good in Montreal. He's never been good in Montreal. His entire career, he's just not been all that good. He's now 1-3 in the postseason. He's allowed at least 3 goals in 3 of the 4 games. His save percentage is under 800 in 3 of the 4 games. Under 900 in 3 of the 4 games. Like, it hasn't been all that good there. And now all of a sudden, after playing a very good game, or at least for him, he didn't have to do a ton, but doing enough to keep himself in a position where it looked like it was going to be 1 goal, to then give that one away. And now I think the pressure is going to be in on him going into game 4. Like, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's playing in his hometown. He's playing against a team that can be dangerous. They haven't really gotten one of those in close goals that we've been waiting for, one of those hack and whack after the play, after the puck's loose type of situations. That's probably coming at some point. So it's tough. It's a tough situation to be in for him. I saw a couple people say Leonard, like that's embarrassing to even think that. There's no way you play Robin Leonard. If Mark Stone made that play behind the goal, or if, say, someone, Riley Smith, William Karlsson, any of the top six, like even Pietrangelo made the play in overtime in game 1 against Minnesota, like you don't take your best players out. And Marc-Andre Fleury is one of their best players. And to put in Robin Leonard, who has been out for as long as he's been out, his one game was a nightmare, there's just no way. Like that would be ridiculous, would be absolutely ridiculous. This Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you by Conler & Associates CPAs. Go to conlercpa.com for a free consultation if you tell them the SinBin sent you. I'm sure that both Gary and his dad, Ray, are devastated over this game, as are probably all of you. So let's drown our sorrows by going to conlercpa.com and getting our taxes done, because there's nothing worse than having to do your own taxes after watching a game like that. That's the best I got for you guys there. That's all I got. All right, let's turn that off and we'll go to some questions. Okay, definitely not this. I would not put in Logan Thompson. Sure, go ahead and tell me why you would put in Robin Leonard, and I'll tell you why you are 100% wrong. You don't even really have to put it on there. You're wrong. There isn't a reason. There is absolutely no reason to put in Robin Leonard. There's just no way. And that would be really, really, really dumb. Okay. What do we got? Yeah, like I can't give you angry Ken in this case, because I'm really not. Like, it's more just like, it's frustrating because it's a game they won. Like, they won the game. The game's there. They had it. They had the game. Like, that's the most angry I can get for you, is that the game was won. And now we have to pick apart things like the power play, which I'll get to in a minute. We have to pick apart the decision of where they went with, having their top six the way that they did it, and then they shuffle it late at a weird time to shuffle it, and then shuffle it again in overtime. And then there's not playing Ryan Reeves. Like, why is he in the lineup if he can't play at any point in the third period or overtime? Like, I just don't understand that. So I don't know, whatever. Like, and yeah, I'm sure others are mad, and you should be mad. But, like, it's not one that you come in here and you say, if they play like that again, they'll lose the series. Like, I'm not sure I would agree with that. I think if they play like that on Sunday, they'll win. Like, I really think that's true. This is somewhat true. Like, yeah, they're not in the best spot. You've got a tough game to go win on Sunday. But if they win the next game on Sunday, maybe. They should be fine. Like, and I don't know, like, yeah, I guess it takes me a while to change my mind, I think, is kind of the part that I would say. Like, this is a fair point. I don't think I can quickly change my mind, especially in a game like that. Like, Vegas was better. They were better for 60 minutes. Overtime, yeah, maybe that's a bit of an issue. But it's awfully difficult to expect them to come into overtime and play a great overtime after they just won the game in 60 minutes and it was taken from them by an error. And, like, yeah, you guys on your team, he's won you a lot of games. He's given you this so far. Like, you can't go nuts about Fleury, because the Golden Knights aren't here without Marc-Andre Fleury. They're just not. I don't think they beat Minnesota if they don't have Fleury. So it's tough. And, like, this is so how can you completely control the game and lose again? Like, that's classic Golden Knights, and it comes down to finishing. But even in this game, like, normally I would say, yeah, that, they can't finish. They've got to find a way to be better on their power play. Got to find a way to finish some of these opportunities, get more traffic in front, get some of the dirty goals, do some of these things. But It was 2-1 with 2 minutes left, and they were never going to get a chance. The Golden Knights are dominant at 6-on-5 or 5-on-6, however you want to call it. When the opposing goalie is pulled, Vegas is the best team in the NHL. They're amazing at it. So if you can get to that position, the game's pretty much over. It was over. They just had to get it out in that one instance. That's it. It didn't happen. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It puts them behind the 8 ball a little bit in the series. But, like, to me, and I don't know if you're the same person that's been yapping at me calling the sport too random on Twitter. Like, it's not. It's really not. Throughout the entirety of the history, whoa, spit on myself there. You should see my screen. It's disgusting. Yeah. Lucky for everyone that this isn't some sort of 4D situation, because I spit a lot when I talk, and it's really gross. And now that I'm seeing this, I kind of like feel bad for Jason, who sat next to me for 3 years. Like he's probably soaked. It's fucking gross, disgusting person. Don't even want to explain the smells around here either, but that's a different story. The sport is random. There is some randomness to it. Like, there's no denying that. And that's part of what makes it fun. That's part of what makes it impossible to decide who's going to win every year. And it's what keeps us all engaged and interested. And it's a huge reason why the parity is what it is in the league. But this is the 11th playoff series the Golden Knights have played in. So far, of the 10 that have finished, the correct team has won 9 of them. And the other one, the NHL literally apologized that they fucked it up and they should have had the other team win the last one. So it's like all 10 went the way they should have. Every single one. Now, they've gotten there in different ways, and that's why we play 7. It shouldn't have gone that far against Vancouver. You know, maybe Winnipeg should have gone further. Probably San Jose didn't have to go as far and then didn't have to get fucked up at the end. Sure, there are different things. But when you really look at what has happened in this series and in any series, it's not that random. The team who plays better for the majority of the series will win most of the time. And in a way, I understand how you can look at a game and say 30-14 or whatever it was in shots, 30-8, whatever. I don't even remember. Like, how does that not do it? Because the Golden Knights weren't generating enough dangerous shots. Like, yeah, sure, they have 30 shots, but how many of them were actually dangerous chances? At one point, I looked up at the high danger scoring chances, and it wasn't that far off. I don't remember what the exact numbers were. Maybe Vegas was up by like 4 after maybe 40 minutes or so. Like, I remember thinking, like, God damn, this is way closer than I would have thought. And that the reason for that is because Vegas can live in your zone, can get these opportunities, and not generate enough really dangerous chances. And it has happened from time to time in this season. And like the drought thing, like it has come and gone in this season like it did in the postseason. But last season, it never went away. This season, every single time they've needed it to go away, it has. Every time. You think about Game 6, they broke out, they scored a bunch. Game 4 was another one against Colorado. They scored a bunch. Game 7 against Minnesota after losing a couple in a row. They broke out and they scored a bunch. Like, this team hasn't had that problem to this point. They haven't had that problem even to this point in this series. They were down 3-0 in the last game, came back and made it 3-2 and nearly tied it up late, had multiple opportunities to tie it up late. Today, they scored first, they scored second, or they scored again to take another lead. They had a lead with 2 minutes left. They're good enough defensively that against a team like this, if they play the way that they can, 2 is plenty. 2 should be plenty. And 2 was plenty tonight. It just didn't happen because of what the one play that Fleury does. That's a nightmare. Yeah, okay, here, the high danger chance there were 18-11. It was closer than that at one point, but it's like, you just can't project that goal to happen. You just can't, and you never will be able to. And it sucks that it happened. There's no two ways about it. It sucks that goal happened. And it does put pressure on Fleury moving forward. And it's scary that if he doesn't have a great game in game 4, where are we? I get that. Power play. Let's talk about the power play. Somebody type power play into the chat so I can put power play or something about the power plays. Yeah, here we go. Okay, there we go. Like, here's the thing. There's enough weapons on this power play. Thanks, Alita. There's enough weapons here to do enough on a power play. Mark Stone should be elite on a power play. Max Pacioretty has a great shot. They've got 2 guys from the point who are pretty good at quarterbacking the power play and should be able to get shots through. Alec Martinez is actually tremendous on the power play in that half-wall circle slot where he is able to score. They don't really have any dominant bumper guys in the middle. That could be an issue. Cody Glass might be the best one that they have, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But it's like, and Marchessault should probably be better than he's been on the power play. He had been pretty good in the past. And like thinking back, when their power play was at their best, it was Perron, Halla, and Neal doing most of the damage. Okay, fine. But you look at the roster, and there should not be a reason that this power play sucks. You look at the course of this season, and I went to pretty much every single practice, and I've gone to pretty much every single practice so far in the postseason. I think I've gone to all of them, if I'm not mistaken. There might have been one. They practice it a lot, like a real lot. They do different things. They try these plays where they're, getting it down to the slot, into the bumper, backhand pass out to the outside and try to score there. They're trying different things. The one thing that I think has just been consistently missing, and I don't know why it never changes, is the guy at the top of the umbrella. Usually it's Pietrangelo or Theodore. They never, ever pull him off of there. Never. There's never a rotation. When they get on 5-on-3s, they do from time to time. But they never do it when they're at 5-on-4. And I think that's the one piece that when you watch other teams, just watch a Tampa game. Watch the number of times there's interchanges among players. Guy coming from the half wall up to the point. Guy going from the point back to the half wall. The guy from the bumper getting right in front of the goal, moving up to the high slot, back into the low slot, back into the mid slot, different options. You've seen a lot of it. This team doesn't really do it. And in a power play like this, the way that it's set up, there has to be a plan A. There has to be, this is what we're trying to do. They run their power play as if they have Ovechkin or Patrick Laine sitting in the circle. They do not. They have Alec Martinez. He's good. He's not elite. He's not going to rip one by a goalie if the goalie's there. That's what happens for these elite guys. That's what they're trying to do. Or Marchessault. Or they're waiting for Mark Stone to make magic out of absolutely nothing. And he can't, especially against a team that's as good as penalty killing as this team is. So it's like, what are they going to do? I don't know. And I don't think they're going to have an answer. I really don't. And this is a fair point for Morty, that if the Golden Knights make it to the final, the power play could be their undoing. It absolutely might. But at this point, what makes anyone think that it's going to get better? And I know I've said that about other things. I know that. I said that about Alex Pietrangelo. I know. And he got better. So maybe there's something that can happen. I don't think it's personnel. They're not going to suddenly put Cody Glass into the lineup. And let's talk about Cody Glass for a second. Somebody type Cody Glass in so I can put that up on the bottom. Where are you at, Rita? There we go. Good job, Dustin. He beat me to it. Let's talk about Cody Glass. Cody Glass is not good enough at 5-on-5 to be in this roster. It's that simple. He proved it time and time again over the first 4 years of his career in the Golden Knights system. Over and over and over again. That doesn't mean that he could not be a good player moving forward. He's a kid. He's young. Okay, it's fine. But he's not good enough to push other players out of the roster. The only one that's potentially possible would be Reeves. And the reason why they don't is because they believe Ryan Reeves brings something that I don't understand. Fine. But But even if you were to give in to what I want, I'm not putting Cody Glass in. I'm not. I would put in a number of players. Sekera would go back in. Yurko would go in. Brown would be first. I would try Danny O'Regan before I would try Cody Glass at this point. Just because I need the 5-on-5 to continue being dominant. It has to be. Vegas's 5-on-5 has to be dominant for them to win the series. When it's not, that's when they're going to have their problems. Yeah, Krebs I would probably put in before Glass, but right now I don't know that I'm putting Krebs in because, like, are we trusting that a kid who's played 3 games in the NHL who broke his jaw is going to be able to deal with what it takes to win a Stanley Cup semifinal series? I don't know that I'm doing that at this point. I'm just not. I can answer this. What's the obsession with Glass? The obsession with Glass is he's supposed to be a difference maker. He's supposed to be Nick Suzuki on the other side. That's what he's supposed to be. It hasn't happened. It just hasn't. So why everyone wants him to come back in, I don't know. The whole Reeves thing, it's good coaching to not play the guy. The problem is you put him in the lineup in the first place. Like, when you have a lead and you're defending the way that the Golden Knights are defending, there's absolutely no reason to take the risk of putting the worst player you have on your bench into the game. There's just not. So in that case, I love the coaching decision. But when you get to overtime and it starts getting deeper and deeper and deeper into overtime, that player has to play. He has to. And, like, to me, if that's where we're at, if he can't get into the game, now, maybe he's hurt. I think Caulfield is 20. If he's hurt, fine. Okay, no big deal. I'll talk about this one next. Okay, but if he's a healthy scratch or a healthy benching or whatever, then you can't play him ever again. Because if you can't trust him down a goal and you can't trust him tied, when can you trust him? Or sorry, up a goal and you can't trust him tied. Are you really going to trust him down a goal? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He's the worst goal scorer you have. Doesn't make any sense. So that's my issue with that. I liked that they don't play him. That's great. That's my favorite thing. But take him out of the lineup then. Put in Brown. Put in Sekera. Put in Yurko. Put in Danny O'Regan. I like Danny O'Regan. What did I think of Noshik? He was fine. He was okay. He's Noshik. That's what he is. He's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, as you can put him up there when you need defense. You put him up with that top line when you need defense. But then when they all of a sudden they give up that cheapy goal and now they need to chase offense, what are you doing? Why is Tuck not back in that spot? Didn't make any sense to me. I'll have to look at it back again to learn a little bit more of how they did it. Just crazy. Yeah, this is an interesting one. The refs were really, really, really bad in favor of the Golden Knights. Like, they were bad. They were not good at all. That 4-minute penalty was an unbelievable miss. They missed about 4 trips. They missed a hook. They called a hook on Kotkaniemi when he really didn't do anything. He put his stick in there and Pacioretty grabbed it. Golden Knights got 4 power plays. They've only given up 2. I hope the refs don't decide let's come back and change things in the next game. By the way, I reported on Stevenson before the game. He did not travel to Montreal despite whatever the fuck that was from DeBoer. Shout out to that guy from Montreal with that question. Hilarious. If you get a chance, go back and watch Pete DeBoer's presser. They might cut it out. It wouldn't shock me if they cut it out when they actually put it up. It's hilarious. The guy comes in and, by the way, this person, Catania, put your question back in there. I didn't see it. I don't know where it is. I'll get to Stevenson next, but I want to talk about this hilarious moment in the presser. So the guy pushes Ray's hand, and usually it's the same reporter that gets the first question every single time, and I have no idea why, but he gets the first question every single time. Fine. Somebody else got the first question, and it was somebody from Montreal, and I don't know who it was. I don't know the guy's name. I'm sorry. I would imagine I can't pronounce his name anyway. Sorry to that guy. But he comes on, and the guy says, I didn't expect to get the first question, but I'm going to ask this anyway. Did Chandler Stevenson travel to Montreal, or is he back in Vegas? and he has a pretty heavy French accent. And DeBoer says, "Who are we talking about?" As if he doesn't know, which is the first part, which is hilarious to me. Like you don't know who didn't trap. Like, get the fuck out of here. Okay, so then the guy responds with, and I'm not going to try to do his accent. I'm not going to be mean. He says it's Chandler Stevenson. And then he says, "I'm only going to talk about questions about the game." The dude's mic is still on. He responds immediately. With, "It is about the game. He wasn't at the game. You lost the game." And there he's going on, and they mute his mic, which is hilarious. Again, classic. And don't blame the Golden Knights for this one, because this was actually the NHL. The NHL is running the press conferences now, not the Golden Knights. But they mute his mic, and he just says, "Next question," and goes to the next one. Hilarious. As far as his absence, today, it didn't matter. It just didn't. Do the Golden Knights get more scoring down the lineup? Maybe. Sure. Possibly. But Tuck has the chances on the offensive side playing in that line. If he buries one of them, they're fine. To me, you didn't need Chandler Stevenson today. You really didn't. How do they get more scoring? First of all, it's traffic. There's not been enough traffic and not generating second and third chances. That is the norm. That is going to be the case pretty much every single time. But to me, there's one piece of this that I do not understand why the Golden Knights are not doing more of. And that's hitting these cross-ice passes. How many times did you see the Golden Knights attempt a cross-ice pass in this game? From board to board, from point to far half wall. How many times? The answer to me was 0. I never saw it, not once. Not a single time did I see it today. Not once. So it's like, why? Why are you not trying that? You know based on scouting, because I know, and I showed it in a number of different stories, and I can show it on a video that I'm probably not going to. I might make a video of how awesome the penalty kill's been, because they're doing one thing that has been phenomenal on the penalty kill, but I don't know if that's suitable at the moment. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You have to try cross-ice passes against this team. You have to, because they're so bad at defending them, and their goalie is so fucking good. Yes, he let in a cheapie today. Sure. But their goalie is excellent. If you don't try these challenging passes, you will never score enough goals against these guys to overcome having one mistake in your own end. They had one mistake the whole game. I guess maybe the Holden one's a mistake. Yeah, the overtime one, that's a breakdown. Yeah, okay. But they win the game without the one mistake by Fleury. That's the game changer. That's the one that loses them the game. So to me, to score a third goal, a fourth goal, a fifth goal in this series, you have to be willing to take the risk. This is penalty kill, power play, 5-on-5. It doesn't matter. Anytime possible, hit the seam passes. They cannot defend them consistently. Yes, they're going to break some of them up. It's going to take a possession that maybe would have lasted a little bit longer and blow it. Yes, that may happen. But they're not going to defend them enough that you're going to come up short, come up empty over the course of an entire game. I just don't believe it. And it's especially the case when you get Merrill and or Gustafson on the ice. Either of them are on the ice. Try it even more. We know about it with Merrill. We had him for long enough. The guy's fine, but he's not that good at defending that. Another thing is throw pucks up in the air at him. He's not very good at that. They're running out 4 defensemen, and it's working. I would argue that Merrill or Gustafson should probably come out. I think they're going to keep Gustafson in there because he is so good on the power play, and they have gotten away with using him so little. Merrill, I don't understand it. I think Kulak's a better option, but whatever. I don't care what they're going to do. I don't. To me, like, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I don't like that. Here we are again, 7 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup, and they lost again, like another time. Since they've been 7 games away from winning the Stanley Cup, they have now lost 6 consecutive games when they were 7 games away. That's not good. That concerns me. And yes, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated, but I'm not frustrated by the whole course of the game. It's not a game that Vegas played poorly. They did so many things well. They just didn't execute in the final moments. And then they had one thing that probably will never happen again happen. And if that doesn't happen, Vegas is up 2-1. And we feel so much differently about this. And the Golden Knights are the better team still at this moment in my mind. I have not changed off that. I think Vegas is better. That's all I got tonight. Good night. Everyone have a good night. Thanks to Conler. I don't know. That's all I got.